Hey, it's your friend Choice CJ here, and I am really excited, really excited to be bringing you guys this video. This is going to be a Wi-Fi battle between me and my buddy Greg, aka Gregulator. He is one of the fellow coaches in the UBC, and just an overall swell guy. Definitely go check him out. But I haven't done a Citra battle on the video on my channel. Excuse me. In a couple months, like 2 or 3 months. I did one just sort of as like a troubleshooting, kind of like learning how to do it thing, and I'm hoping that this could be the start of some semi-regular Wi-Fi battles on the channel. Maybe do like once a week or so. We'll definitely see how it goes. But I do want to give a big thank you to Leo, aka 6 Hacks, for helping me out. I had gotten this up and running before on my own, but with the update, the 1.1 update for Pokemon Sun and Moon, I needed a little bit of help to get that running on Citra, and he hooked me up, so I really appreciate it. And I want to give a big thanks to Greg, of course, for battling me. It's really funny. Greg and I actually battled once before on Wi-Fi, and I was hoping to do the same thing to record the battle on Citra, but the game was really good, but I accidentally brought a Zygarde Complete. It was a Zygarde 50%, and in the showdown it was an aura break, not a power construct Zygarde. So I don't know what happened between showdown and PK Hex and the actual game, but I didn't think it was really fair to upload a battle where I had Zygarde Complete. He was definitely going to beat me, and I was able to pull it back with Zygarde. So that really sucks for Greg that I kind of went cheap on him. But anyway, we are going to be coming back here for a rematch. And you can see I have a team of Tapu Fini, Landorus T, Mega Charizard X, Tapu Bulu, Magearna, and Salamence. It's a defensive Fini with Taunt and Defog. It's Rocky Helmet Lando. The Bulu is Choice Banded, the Magearna is Assault Vest, and Salamence is Z Crystal. Dragon Dance. And he has a team of Lando, Salamence, Volcarona, Tapu Fini, Venusaur, and Jirachi. So he has more of like somewhere between like a bulky offense and a balanced team. I guess closer to balance, because he has things like the Fini and the Venusaur that are still threatening, but just don't die very easily. Jirachi is also a Pokemon that's really hard to kill just because it has such great typing. He has Landorus, which everybody knows about Landorus and how good that thing is. And he's got 2 really threatening setup sweepers, being the Salamence and the Volcarona. So basically, I just want to make myself kind of impervious to losing to setup from those 2 mons. Because really all they need is like a +1 in order to beat my team. So I never want to find myself in a circumstance where he's going to be able to take me on, and get on a Dragon Dance. So in terms of leads, I am expecting him to lead with something like Landorus. So my Tapu Fini lead is, I think, pretty safe, and we'll see how things go from there. So good luck, have fun. We're going up against Gregulator. I'll go ahead and say the recording's not perfect, but I think the quality in general is quite good, and I'm learning some other tricks. Like I recently learned how to change the battle background, so you can expect future Wi-Fi videos to have the different cool things in the background, like on the beach or in the volcano or whatever. So he's going to get off and intimidate on me. Obviously, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go for the Skull this turn in case he just wants to stay in and set up rocks, because getting Lando weakened is going to be really nice for my potential Salamence or Charizard. But he's just going to go on ahead into his Venusaur. Very safe play. I don't have any chance of burning him, obviously because of my own Misty Surge. Maybe going for Nature's Madness would have been a nice play here, because getting off the 50% on the Lando would have been nice too. But I digress. I've got a very safe switch into this Venusaur being my Assault Vest Magearna. He's going to go ahead on and make it evolve, and look at that sweet Mega Evolution animation in the 1080p quality that Citra provides. And he's going to go for a Giga Drain, and that's going to do close to 0. It does 32 damage, which suggests that he's actually defensive. There is a difference in the offensive and defensive output there. So he's going to switch on out because he doesn't really have anything to hit me with. And he's going to bring in the Volcarona. Now, I do go for the Volt Switch here. I didn't think he'd be going into the Lando because the Lando didn't want to take a Flash Cannon or anything like that. And Volcarona coming in did make sense because I can't hit it with any of my stabs. I get a crit, which is definitely nice for me, unfortunate for Greg. The damage does reveal this is a pretty bulky Volcarona, which is what Greg seems to like to run. But anyway, I go into my Mens because I know that there's nothing that this Volcarona can do, or there's most likely nothing that it can do to hit my Salamence. And he's going to go right into his Lando. And I do click Dragon Dance here, because I wasn't really sure what else I wanted to go for. I have Fly, Earthquake, and Outrage on this set. I didn't want to lock myself into Outrage, obviously. Earthquake I figured would be resisted by this Lando, or rather it would be immune. And I didn't want to click Fly or Supersonic Sky Strike. So after going for the D-Dance, I am just going to switch out into the Feeny. And he shows the HP Ice, which is pretty nice. That's definitely more common on Landorus these days because Pokemon like Talonflame are way less common in OU. So you can instead run HP Ice to hit opposing Landorus. My Landorus actually has Stone Edge rather than the HP Ice, which I'm feeling pretty nice about because, you know, the Volcarona is such a big threat. It's really nice to have Stone Edge against that thing. After Tapu Fini comes in here, Venusaur comes in and dodges a Nature's Madness, but he's not going to be able to dodge a second one. I really want to just get damage off on this Venusaur because it is such a problem. And he actually goes for the Sleep Powder, which unfortunately for me, my Misty Terrain had just expired. So he is going to get a pretty free Sleep Powder there. I'm going to go into my Charizard because I don't think there's a whole lot that this Venusaur can do to me. It's also at low health, so it's got a good chance of going for Synthesis, as it does. And if you wanted to go into something like Volcarona to take advantage of my sleep, Charizard threatens that pretty well. But I am now going to double on into my Magearna, expecting his Tapu Fini, and that's exactly what he goes into. So if he doesn't go into Landorus, I've got a pretty good opportunity to go for Volt Switch here if I want. I could go for the Floor Cannon to try and get off damage on this thing, or if he wants to bring in, you know, something like that Landorus or whatever else. But he just goes back into the Venusaur. It just makes me wish that I either just clicked Volt Switch or maybe clicked Flash Cannon. That probably was the overall best play. He could have also gone into Jirachi, which would have been pretty nice for him. But as played, I can just go for Volt Switch, and that's not too bad. As he brings in his Jirachi, and I am going to go for this Volt Switch here, get off some nice damage. Another crit, which is definitely crappy. I feel bad that I'm kind of critting this thing left and right. But this is a really good momentum play into my Landorus, and I can finally set up Stealth Rock. The Volcarona is pretty, or is a little bit weakened at this point, so shipping another 50% off of that thing is definitely going to put in a range of most anything that I can go for. He's not going to be able to set up without getting killed by one of my attacks. And so he brings in his Lando, and I'm thinking he might just go for Rocks as well. But I remember that this thing also has the HP Ice, which can do a lot of damage to my Lando. Lando is going to be really important in this match for taking on Mence, potentially, because that thing is a huge threat to my team. I don't have a Steel type that can resist both the Supersonic Sky Strike and the Outrage. He goes for the HP Ice. I make a guess kind of like a, I don't know if I would call it a risky play into my Bulu. Bulu obviously takes super effective damage from the HP Ice, but Bulu is really bulky, and Landorus, when it goes for HP Ice, it never has any special attack investment anyway. So he makes a good play into his Venusaur as I click the Wood Hammer. I probably should have predicted this, but because I'm banded, I still get a decent chunk of damage off on this Venusaur, and he's going to be forced to go for Synthesis on this turn. And this is going to be another really nice opportunity for me to go into my Magearna. He just doesn't have a great answer for Magearna. The only way that he can really threaten me is with his... Oh, sorry, I do have a Steel type. I've said a moment ago that I didn't have anything that can switch in on the Mence. But, you know, to me, like, I want to keep this Magearna around for this Venusaur and for other stuff. But he is just going to actually stay in here and go for the Giga Drain as I go for the Flash Cannon. Getting damage off on this thing is still, like, one of my highest priorities because it really takes on my team. I don't have a really great way to hit it super effectively. I could go for the Supersonic Sky Strike on it, but I don't want to burn that just to take out a Venusaur if I can help it. I'd rather keep it in the back to sweep and maybe get off a huge hit on the defensive Landorus. So he is at maybe like 70% here, which is pretty nice. Now I'm going to be anticipating him to switch out because he doesn't want to take another one. and he's actually going to go right into his Jirachi. So we'll get another opportunity to hit this thing. I actually go for the Volt Switch. It is nice that the Magearna is actually slower than the Venusaur, because now I can guaranteed get off a slow Volt Switch and go into something that's going to threaten the Landorus, and if it, or sorry, threaten the Venusaur. And if it didn't Synthesis that turn, if it just went for like another Giga Drain or some other play, it might have been in range of something like Supersonic Sky Strike, so who knows. But I've got my Landorus back in here versus the Jirachi, and Jirachi doesn't really want to do anything to my Lando. I assume it's not packing Ice Punch or anything like that. So either he's going to U-turn out on me and take a little Rocky Helmet damage, or like he does here, he's going to go straight into his Lando. I kind of expected his Lando to come in, and that's why I went for the Stone Edge, because I just want to start getting chip on this thing, especially if it's not lefties, which it does not appear to be. So just getting every single hit off on this is going to be really nice, just to start whittling it, because I do have two Pokemon that really benefit from Landorus being removed. And he does go for U-turn. That's a good play, because he didn't think my Landorus was going to stay in, given that he's shown HP Ice now, and my Tapu Fini was a fairly obvious switch in. So he brings in his Tapu Fini, and this is going to be a nice opportunity for him to get off Defog, and this is going to be a good opportunity for me to finally try and burn a sleep turn. Like the Tapu Fini, you could definitely go for Nature's Madness, which I'm not going to appreciate, but I figured it would Defog. And bringing in Tapu Fini on the Landorus as well I think was relatively safe, because Landorus can't really do a ton of damage to Fini. I am a calm-natured Tapu Fini though, so I guess it might 3-hit KO with Earthquake. But yeah, so I've got one turn of Sleep Burned. He's got the rocks off the field. Volcarona is looking a little bit more scary. And I'm going to stay in here again and try and burn a turn of sleep, because his most likely switch in is the Venusaur. And I've already shown that I've got a really safe switch into that in my Magearna. And luckily for me, I do wake up on the first turn. So that is quite nice. Definitely getting on the better side of the luck so far this match. With a couple of early crits, getting a first turn wake and things like that. So I do go into my Magearna, as I mentioned. It's especially safe because he's probably not even going to go for an attacking move. He's probably just going to go for the Synthesis as he does. And now I can go for a Flash Cannon, because nothing on his team really wants to take it, and the main Pokemon that would resist it, being the Jirachi, is really weak at this point. You can see it's at like 35% or so. Do get off this Flash Cannon, and we're going to bring this down very low. And this is a nice chance for me to go into my Lando, get off an Intimidate, and maybe if he goes for U-turn or something, I can knock him out with my Rocky Helmet. So it is like several turns into this game. It's like 20 or 25 turns into this game, and we're finally just getting ourselves set up for the first kill, as the Jirachi does go for that U-turn. And as I mentioned, it's going to knock itself out to the Rocky Helmet. So first blood, finally. Took forever. And this is going to be an opportunity for him to go back into his Lando. I could switch out of here fearing his HP Ice, but I really want to get Rocks up, and I think there's a good chance that he just tries to get Rocks up as well, because I do still have Immense and a Zard that do not want to come in on Rocks if I can help it. And I know that his main win condition is his Volcarona, so he wants to get them off the field as well. It's funny, we both have a Pokemon that's weak to Rocks and then 4 times weak to Rocks. So Stealth Rock is very important in this match for the both of us. I do bring in my Fini, because if I do find the need to defog later, I can do that. And if he decides to go for the HP Ice, as he does, it's not a big deal. I'm not going to take a lot of damage from that. Now, I got to remember what I do on this turn. I make a kind of a bold play here. I actually double out into Magearna, expecting his switch into Venusaur, because Venusaur is definitely a good switch in for Tapu Fini. So expecting that I go into Magearna, but he makes a nice play and goes for the EQ. And so this puts me in a really bad position, actually, because Magearna was definitely my switch in for the Venusaur. It was also a nice switch in for potentially Mens that didn't have EQ. And now I just basically let it go down for nothing. I guess I'm able to preserve HP on my Tapu Fini, which is not bad because Tapu Fini can take care of Landorus to some extent. It can take care of Salamence to some extent. But anyway, afterwards I'm able to go into my Bulu, and his switch-in is definitely the Venusaur, so I'm going to go on the offensive, and I'm actually going to go for Mega Horn, praying that I don't miss. But if I don't miss, this is definitely a 2-hit KO after Stealth Rock. So we're going to see how this goes, and we do land the Mega Horn. So you're going to see it does a nice chunk of damage. It does like 45%, which is great. He's going to get a little recovery, of course, from the grassy terrain, but he's still in range. And I'm going to go for it once again, as he's going to switch on out, because this Venusaur still has the opportunity to set up or go for a Synthesis versus some members of my team, like the Finny. But it's starting to look really weakened. Sorry if you just heard me burp. But I do get off this Mega Horn on the Fini. Even though this is a banded Bulu, we're not going to be doing too much damage to this Finny. And trying to figure out what I want to go into here. I don't really want to go into my Zard, my Mence, or my or anything else, so I just go back into Finny, because I can potentially Nature's Madness this thing. I know that the Finny is starting to get a little bit whittled, and I can go for a Nature's Madness to whittle it further. He just goes for Defog, which again is you know, I don't want him getting rocks off the field, but at least he got rid of my rocks. So Mence and Zard can potentially come in later, set up a Dragon Dance, and start to do some damage. I do want to taunt this thing, or like I don't want him to, yeah, I want to taunt this thing, and I also want to taunt something like Mence or Volcarona or Lando if he decides to switch those in. Especially like Mence and stuff. I don't really have a great way to hit Mence with this set, but I want to be able to prevent any of those Pokemon from setting up. So I do go for that, and I am going to, sorry, I'm losing, I have some notes on this that I'm trying to follow, and I'm very quickly losing track. But he brings in his Landorus as I go for the switch, and I'm going to be bringing in my Tapu Bulu, because I don't think that there's anything that the, there's nothing that the Tapu Fini can really do to my Tapu Bulu short of landing a burn with Scald. And I don't even know if he's running Scald yet. He hasn't clicked it. He might just be running Surf. But Bulu's looking like a threat. And after Rocks, I definitely 2-hit KO this Venusaur with Wood Hammer. Oh, sorry, he doesn't have Rocks up anymore. I still definitely 2-hit KO with Wood Hammer, but I do land a crit. You know, it definitely stinks that I get another crit versus him, but this one wasn't important because I was going to KO him anyway. The only way that it's a little bit less important, or that it is a little bit important, is because I get an extra turn of grassy terrain. He is going to bring in his Landorus, and I could switch out, but I kind of just want to land a big hit on this thing because this thing has been so annoying. So, you know, do I want to go into something else, or do I want to click Wood Hammer? I decide that I want to go into something else, and I bring in my Tapu Fini. And this is, again, another situation where I'm really worried about him going for setup moves. So I go for the Taunt, because even if he gets to +1, Tapu Fini is pretty bulky. He can take a Giga Drain. I can weaken it with Nature's Madness. I can go into either my Mence or my Charizard and threaten it out with a powerful stab move. But he just goes into the Lando. This works out for me too because I can get off a Taunt, prevent him from getting up rocks if I want. And I'm just going to go ahead and go for a Scald because if he's bringing this thing in versus me, you know, he's definitely going to want to try and get some damage off on me because this Finny is just really causing him problems now that his Venusaur is down. But he goes back into his own Finny, and I'm going to get off a Scald, which is going to do pretty much 0 damage. And because this Finny's back in here, I want to start applying some more offensive pressure once again. This Finny really can't do anything to threaten Tapu Bulu. So I'm going to make a switch here, and I'm going to go into my Tapu Bulu. And you guys can already see, this is an intense game. This is a very long game, back and forth, lots of pivoting. It's really hard for one of us to get an edge in this game. I am technically up, I think, 4-5, but, you know, it's still very difficult. He's going to get off a Taunt on my Tapu Bulu, And again, he doesn't have a good Tapu Bulu switching anymore. I guess Mence does 4 times resist, but I doubt he really wants to take a Wood Hammer anyway. I bet it's still going to do like 35-40%, because most likely his Mence is offensive and not really bulky. He's just going to go for a Scald. I'm like holding my breath here, hoping that he doesn't get a burn. And luckily, I do dodge that burn, and we get rid of the Tapu Fini. So that he is no longer has any way of getting rid of hazards if we do find an opportunity to set them up, which is quite nice. And I guess I could have clicked Horn Leech. That would have been a fine play as well. But I do click the Wood Hammer, and he's going to bring in his Landorus. So because my Tapu Bulu is starting to get a little bit low, and most of the Mons on his team that are remaining are going to outspeed, mainly his Volcarona and his Salamence, there's not really a reason to switch out here. I can get a big hit off of this Landorus. Even at -1, I'm going to do a huge chunk of damage with Wood Hammer. And you guys are going to see it does like a clean 75%. And he lives with a sliver of HP, which is really unfortunate, but we are going to get taken out by this move here. So I now have my Tapu Fini coming in. I could click Defog, but I don't think that's what I click on this turn. It probably would have been the better choice. But I'm pretty sure I clicked the Taunt because I'm afraid of the Salamence coming in and getting an opportunity to set up, because I just can't really hit Mence all that hard with this Fini, and I don't have Rocks up. So he goes for Rocks, I guess anticipating my Defog, but maybe as a surprise to him, I outspeed. Or sorry, he outspeeds. He's actually running a good bit of speed on his Landorus, I learned. He's running enough for Timid Heatran. And he is going to finally bring in the Mence, which is very, very scary. And I'm going to Defog, get away these hazards. And that's really nice for me because, again, my Mence and my Charizard, which haven't hit the field once this game. I've done all my work with Bulu, Fini, Magearna, you know, everything like that. And Landorus. Landorus coming in and pivoting around, getting off Intimidates is quite convenient. This is the reason why I've been keeping my Landorus in the back almost all game, because I want to be able to threaten this thing. He goes for a D-Dance, and I'm definitely scared of this thing. I'm not packing HP Ice like his Landorus, so I can't hit this thing 4 times effectively, but I do at least have Stone Edge. And he's going to go for another Dragon Dance, so he's hoping either I don't have... Well, no, he knows I have Stone Edge. I guess he's just hoping that I miss here. And so I do get off my Stone Edge. Are we going to hit? Luckily we do. Get off like 75% versus this thing. And I'm like, wait a second. If he goes for Supersonic Sky Strike, I'm definitely going to die. And I don't have any way to revenge this Salamence. So anticipating it, I go ahead and I sack my own Salamence, and he is going to go for this awesome Z-move animation that you guys see right here. If he had Dragon Danced again, like that would have been really awful, because then he could probably kill my Landorus with a Dragon move. But I knew that he wanted to try and kill my Landorus with the Supersonic Sky Strike. It was definitely in range now that the Mence was at +1. And I guess I could have sacked my Charizard here, but I thought that Charizard had a better chance of setting up versus his Landorus. He has Hidden Power Ice and not Stone Edge, and the HP Ice would have probably one-shot my own Mence. And Charizard also deals really well with Volcarona if it doesn't have HP Ground, so to me the best play was to sack the Mence instead. Now my Landorus comes back in. He had gotten to +2 because of the Moxie boost. I intimidated him back down to +1, and he goes for another Dragon Dance. So he's just really hoping that I miss. This probably was a misplay. Like the getting the damage off on the Landorus would have been really great. But as it is, I'm able to kill with the Stone Edge. If I had missed, that might have been GG. So I guess maybe that in some way it was worth it. But anyway, he is going to get up his late game rocks here. And I wish I could have prevented that, but he is a fast Landorus, so there's nothing really that I can do. I go for a U-turn just to knock out the Landorus. I could have gone for Stone Edge, but I did not want to miss and have him getting off an HP Ice. And now that the Mence is dead, like Landorus is a little bit less important. So if he had gone for HP Ice and tried to take me out, that would have been fine. I can go into my Charizard and go for a setup move. As played, the only Pokemon that he has left is his Volcarona. And here is where I make a little bit of a questionable play. For some reason, I thought that his Volcarona was at way lower health than it actually was. The Volcarona, in reality, hasn't come in since like the very beginning of this match. And so I go for a Flare Blitz thinking, oh yeah, no problem, I can kill this. But one, he has more HP than I thought, and two, he is actually really bulky, which I did learn earlier, but I guess I forgot. And so I didn't even Mega Evolve because I didn't think I needed the damage boost, and I wanted to dodge a potential Hidden Power Ground. I 4 times resist Giga Drain in this form, and I still resist the Fire Stab, so I thought I'd be okay. I am just going to go for another Flare Blitz as he shows the Roost, so I'm thinking, shoot, okay, this could be really bad. I might have just thrown this away. If I had just Mega Evolved and either gone for a Roost or maybe even a Dragon Dance, heck, I think even just like a Tough Claws boosted Flare Blitz would have done enough to the Volcarona. But no, that's not what I chose to do. I chose to go for an unmega Flare Blitz, and he's going to go for a Fiery Dance. If he gets a boost right here, I actually think I just lose. Unless he has like Bug Buzz over Giga Drain on Volcarona, and then my Tapu Fini can kind of come in. But now that this thing is boosted in its Spadef and it's shown Roost, I don't think Tapu Fini can beat it 1v1. So my only hope now is that I can come in with my Landorus and I can take it out. I know that I can survive a Fiery Dance most likely. It's a roll if he's max special attack, but I don't think he's max special attack based on how well he's been taking hits. Even if he's max HP, EQ should kill, but he goes for Roost. So, as you guys are going to see, EQ is not even going to be a 2 KO after the Roost. So I'm like, crap, this is really scary. So I have no choice but to click Stone Edge here. And it's definitely going to Oko the Volcarona, but it does have that chance to miss. I've been getting lucky all game. I've gotten like 3 crits. I've gotten all of my Stone Edges to connect. He goes for Giga Drain, trying to get himself up to as much HP as possible. We click the Stone Edge, and we connect. Oh my goodness, thank the Lord. That would have been really awful if we had missed, because we would have just completely choked this game away. But as it is, we come away with a win versus Greg. I don't even know what the differential was. I guess it was like 2-0. It was just Tapu Fini and Landorus remaining. So, obviously this was a really long battle. It was 53 turns. I haven't played that long of a Wi-Fi battle in a long time, not since probably the PMC D-League days. And it was a heck of a lot of fun. Big shout-outs to my buddy Greg for making this happen. Big thanks again to Leo for helping me out with my recording. And thank you guys, of course, for watching and checking out this battle. I really hope you guys will tune back to the channel for more battles like this, and you'll also tune back for my other gaming and Pokemon content. So, that's going to do it for me. Until the next time, I will see you guys later.